You ever notice how people think they own you? Not with chains, not with threats, not with rules written by cowards who shake in their polished shoes, but with something worse, doubt. They slip it under your skin like a needle. Let it seep into your blood like a slow poison. And before you know it, you're second guessing your own reflection. They don't have to break you. No. They just have to convince you that you were always meant to be broken. And the best part, you do the rest of the work for them. They watch. Oh, how they watch. Waiting for that little flicker in your eye that tells them you're starting to believe the whispers. That maybe they're right, maybe you are weak, maybe you are lost, maybe you are nothing more than another face in the crowd, another body taking up space, another shadow cast by something far greater than you. But here's the joke they never see coming, the real punchline. You're not broken, you never were. You just let them tell you otherwise, because it was easier than admitting the truth. The truth is, they're afraid of you, terrified, because deep down, in that place they don't even dare to acknowledge, they know that one glorious day, you're going to wake up and realize exactly what you are. Not a victim. Not a puppet dancing on their strings, not a name on their list of people who never made it. Number. You're something else entirely, something they can't define, can't contain, can't kill. Oh, and they've tried, haven't they? Poked and prodded, tested the limits of your patience. Waiting for you to snap, to scream, to beg them to stop. That's what they live for, after all. Control. They need to believe they hold the leash, that you're just another animal in the cage they built for you. But they don't realize you chewed through that leash a long time ago. You've just been playing along, watching, waiting, letting them dig their own grave, one smug little comment at a time, one smirk, one condescending pat on the head, thinking they've won. It's almost funny, isn't it? How they spend their whole lives under the illusion that they matter to you, that you need them. But you don't. That's the kicker. You never did. That's what will destroy them when the time comes. When you stand there unshaken, untouched, untamed and watch the realization dawn in their eyes. That they were never pulling the strings, that they were never anything more than noise in the background of something far greater than them. And by then it'll be too late. People like them, they love to talk about power. They build their little kingdoms out of borrowed confidence, out of stolen pride, standing on the backs of people who never saw them coming. They think power is volume, is how loud you can scream, how hard you can punch, how many people bow when you walk into a room. But you and I know better, don't we? Real power is silence. Real power is patience. Real power is standing still while the whole world burns around you and not flinching. That's the part they don't understand. They think the strong are the ones who fight, but the truly dangerous ones, the ones they should fear, those are the ones who wait. And you have waited, haven't you? Every insult, every slight, every laugh behind your back, oh, you've been patient. You've let them believe they were untouchable. You've let them sleep soundly at night, convinced they would never have to answer for the things they did. But the funny thing about waiting is that it makes the reckoning so much sweeter. Because when it comes in, it will come, it won't be an explosion. It won't be some grand, dramatic confrontation where you finally get to throw their sins back in their face. Number, it'll be a whisper in the dark, a slow, creeping inevitability that they never even saw coming. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to lift a finger. They will destroy themselves. They will unravel, tear themselves apart, piece by miserable piece, because deep down they know what they've done, and they know that time is no longer on their side. The past is catching up. The shadows they thought they outran are stretching longer, closing in, and you just watch. You let them spiral. Let them lie awake at night, wondering when the hammer is going to drop. Let them suffocate under the weight of their own sins. That is the real punishment. Not pain, not rage, fear. The constant, gnawing fear that they are no longer safe, that they never were. Because that's the thing about ghosts. They never really disappear, do they? They linger, they whisper, they remind. And you, my friend, are the ghosts they thought they buried. But here you are, still standing, still watching, still waiting. And when the time comes, they will finally understand what true power looks like. It doesn't scream. It doesn't rage. It doesn't demand to be seen. It simply exists. And it is unstoppable. You ever wonder what keeps them up at night? What makes them sit in the dark, staring at the ceiling, breath shallow, fingers twitching? That little voice in the back of their mind whispering that something isn't right. It's not guilt. No, they don't feel guilt, not the way you or I would. Guilt requires a conscience, and people like them, they don't have one. No. What keeps them awake, what makes their skin crawl, what sends that cold sweat trickling down the back of their neck, it's the knowledge that they miscalculated, that they were wrong. They thought you would break, thought you would fold under the weight of it all, disappear into nothing, become just another casualty in their endless, pathetic war of control. But here you are, still breathing, still watching, and that terrifies them more than anything. Because now they have to ask themselves the question they never thought they'd have to face. What happens when the thing they tried to destroy refuses to die? And oh, you can see it in their eyes, can't you? The way they try to act like nothing's changed, like they're still the ones in control, like they still own the script. But there's a hesitation now. A flicker of doubt behind the mask. They don't know what to do with you. You don't play by their rules. You don't give them the reaction they need to feed that bottomless hunger for power. You just stand there, still, silent, unshaken. That silence, it's deafening. It's inescapable, and it's driving them mad. Because people like them, they need the noise. They need the chaos. They need you to lash out, to scream, to fight, to bleed, because it gives them something to hold on to, something to use against you. But when you don't give it to them, when you let them drown in the quiet, that's when the panic sets in. That's when they start second guessing every word, every move, every carefully constructed illusion they built to convince themselves they were untouchable. And the best part, you don't have to do a damn thing. Just let them unravel. Let them sit with their own rotting reflection, the truth festering like an open wound. They'll destroy themselves faster than you ever could. Because the thing about power, the kind of power they crave, is that it's fragile. It's built on sand, on lies, on illusions so thin that the moment a single crack forms, the whole structure collapses. And you're that crack. You're the proof that they were never as strong as they wanted to believe. That no matter how much they tried to bury you, you are always going to claw your way back up. Stronger, sharper, untouchable. That's what really keeps them up at night. Not what you'll do, not what you'll say, but the simple, inescapable fact that they don't control you anymore. And that is the real revenge. You feel it, don't you? That shift in the air. The way their shoulders tense just a little when they see you. How their laughter is just a touch too forced. Their words just a little too carefully measured. They're thinking now. Calculating. Trying to figure out how to regain what they lost. How to pull you back into the game where they had all the rules stacked in their favor. But there is no game anymore. Not for you. See, that's the difference between you and them. They need the battle, need the control, need to feel like they're always a step ahead. You're past that. You've seen the truth. You've realized the thing they never wanted you to understand. They were never your equal to begin with. They were never worthy of the power they thought they had over you. They were parasites, weaklings, dressed up as kings, feeding off of you, feeding off of your reactions, your emotions, your time, your energy. And now they're starving. Now they're clawing at the empty air where you used to be, desperate for some piece of you to cling to. But there's nothing left for them. You took it back. And that scares them more than anything. Because they know that once someone like you realizes their own power, there's no getting it back. There's no leash strong enough, no words clever enough, no trick manipulative enough to put you back under their thumb. You see them now, truly see them, and that makes you untouchable. They'll try though. Of course they'll try. People like them always do. They'll play their little games, send their little messages wrapped in fake concern, try to worm their way back in under the guise of reconciliation. They'll say they've changed, that they see things differently now, that they never meant to hurt you, not really. That it was just circumstances, just misunderstandings, just the way things had to be. But you know better. You know the truth, they will never admit to themselves that it was never about misunderstanding. It was never about circumstances. It was never even about you. It was about them. Their own emptiness, their own weakness, their own inability to stand on their own without someone else to tear down. And that's why you don't even need to reject them. You don't need to fight them. You don't need to explain yourself or prove a point or seek some grand confrontation where you get to watch the light of realization dawn in their eyes. You just walk away. You let them chase ghosts. Let them talk to the silence. Let them scramble for the version of you that no longer exists. Let them live with the knowledge that the last time they had power over you was the last time they will ever have anything real. And that's where the true reckoning happens. Because at first, they'll tell themselves it's fine, that they don't need you, that you were never that important anyway. They'll laugh, dismiss, pretend, but you know better. Oh, you know better. Because the absence will eat at them. It always does. The silence will grow louder. The weight of their own reflection will become unbearable. And then the panic will set in. The realization. The moment they look at themselves and see what they truly are without you to measure themselves against. Nothing. That's when they'll break. And you won't even have to be there to see it. Funny, isn't it? How people like them always think they can rewrite the story. Like if they just spin the right words, rewrite enough history, they can pretend things didn't play out the way they did. That you don't remember. That maybe, just maybe, you'll come crawling back, desperate to believe the lie they're selling. But you don't believe it. You never will. Because you've seen behind the curtain. You've seen the gears turning in their pathetic little minds, watched them scramble to twist reality into something more convenient for them. That's what they do, after all. They twist, they bend, they rewrite. They convince themselves the past wasn't what it was. That they weren't the villain. That they didn't carve their name into your back with every betrayal and expect you to thank them for it. And when they realize you're not buying into it, when they see the indifference in your eyes, the way their words don't land, the way you don't care, that's when they start to fall apart. See, the thing they never accounted for, the thing they never prepared for, was the day you stopped needing them. Because they needed you. Oh, how they needed you. Not just to validate their existence, not just to keep them fed on attention, but because your pain, your suffering, your struggle was proof that they mattered. If you were broken, then they were powerful. If you needed them, then they were worth something. If you kept coming back, kept trying to understand, kept playing the game, then they could keep pretending they had won. But when you stop playing, when you stop reacting, when they look into your face and see not anger, not hatred, not even resentment, just nothing, that's when they know. They didn't win, they never did. Because real power doesn't come from control. It doesn't come from manipulation. It doesn't come from how many people they can pull under their influence, twist into pawns, keep circling their little orbit. Real power is walking away and never looking back. And that's what you've done. Not just physically, not just by cutting them off, ignoring their messages, letting their words fall into empty space. No, you walked away in the way that matters, in your mind, in your soul. You ripped them out like the rot they were, and let yourself breathe again. And now they're the ones suffocating. You don't have to say a word. You don't have to watch them crumble. You don't have to check in and see if they're still standing, or if they finally drowned in the emptiness they built for themselves. Because it doesn't matter. It never did. And that is why you win. And the best part, they know it. Oh, they might pretend otherwise. They might keep up the act, hold their head high, play the part of someone untouched, someone indifferent, someone better off without you. But you and I both know the truth. They feel it. That absence, that space where you used to be, it lingers, it festers. It gnaws at the edges of their mind when the distractions fade, when the noise quiets, when they're left alone with nothing but their own reflection. They thought they were the ones leaving scars, that they were the ones shaping the game, that they were in control. But they never realized that the worst pain, the kind that truly breaks people, isn't inflicted by words or fists or grand betrayals. It's silence, not the kind that begs for attention, not the kind that's laced with resentment or barely contained rage or the need to be heard. Number. That's what they expect. That's what they want. The silence that truly destroys them. The kind that says, you are nothing to me now. That's the thing they never considered, never even imagined as a possibility that one day they would wake up, reach for the strings they thought still tethered you to them, only to find them severed. Nothing left. No reaction, no anger, no pain, just absence. Because when you were in their world, when they had access to you, you were fuel, energy, power, something to mold, to manipulate, to drain when it suited them. But now they have to face the truth, that without you, they are small, weak, insignificant. And oh, they feel it every single day. In the quiet moments, when their mind drifts, when their phone stays silent, when the usual sources of distraction don't quite drown out the whisper in the back of their head reminding them, you are not what you thought you were. And that is the most exquisite justice, isn't it? Because you didn't have to fight them. You didn't have to prove anything. You didn't have to get even to make them suffer the way they made you suffer, to claw for some kind of closure that never would have meant anything in the first place. All you had to do was walk away, and in doing so, you condemned them to the fate they always feared most, irrelevance. And now you keep walking, because you have better things ahead of you. And that's what they'll never forgive you for. Not the silence, not the distance, not even the way you stripped them of their power without lifting a single finger. No, what will haunt them what will gnaw at them until the end of their miserable days is the fact that you moved on. You didn't just leave, you thrived. You didn't crumble without them. You didn't fade into the background. You didn't shrink into the version of yourself they always wanted you to. Be small, dependent, trapped in the orbit of their influence. You became something else entirely. Something they can't touch. Something they can't even reach. And that is worse than any revenge you could have ever planned. Because people like them, they don't just want power. They want proof of it. They want to see you react, see you struggle, see you orbit around them, even in hatred. Because that means they still matter. That means they still exist in your world. But when you erase them, when you grow into something beyond their reach, that's when they truly understand what loss feels like. Because they never believed you would go. Not really. They thought you would always linger, even if just as a shadow, a whisper, a wound they could reopen when the need arose. They thought they could rewrite the ending, pull you back in, drag you down just enough to keep the story going on their terms. But they were wrong. And now they have to live with that. And you don't even notice. Because that's the final crushing blow they never saw coming. Not just that you left. Not just that you cut the ties, but that you don't care. They could knock on your door tomorrow, spill every excuse, every apology, every carefully crafted plea designed to make you doubt yourself just one more time. And you just close the door. Not out of anger, not out of bitterness, not even out of calculated need to make them suffer, but because they simply do not matter anymore. And that is the end of them. And you know what the cruelest part is? They'll never understand how it happened. Oh, they'll sit with it, pick it apart, try to trace the steps backward, find the exact moment they lost control, the instant things slipped through their fingers. But there is no single moment, no dramatic turning point, no grand realization. Because it wasn't sudden, was it? It was slow, methodical. It was the quiet unraveling of everything they built, the slow erosion of the power they thought they had over you. It was time that worked against them, time that revealed the cracks, time that stripped away the illusion they so carefully crafted until they were left with nothing but the reality. They had spent their whole existence trying to avoid that they were never strong, never special, never important. Not to you. Not anymore. And maybe, just maybe not to anyone at all. That's what will keep them awake at night. The gnawing, relentless doubt. The questions they will never be able to answer. Did they ever matter? Were they ever in control? Did they ever truly win? Or was it all a lie? A temporary illusion, a fleeting sense of power built on sand, destined to collapse the moment you stepped away. They will never know. And that will haunt them more than anything you could have done to them. Because that's the truth, isn't it? You never needed to destroy them. They did it to themselves. All you had to do was walk away. And now you're free.